What's up, guys? I'm Feño. This is the Early Prelims podcast, and we're here to talk about the UFC. And man, did we have an event! That was an event in history. So we had yet another mid apex event. We had Marvin Vettori rematching Roman Dolidze, a rematch that nobody asked for. The first fight was bad. Second fight was bad. We're going to have a talk about that. Okay, okay. The rest of the event had its moments. We're not going to deny that. So why don't we get into it? So our main event, as I just said, Marvin Vettori and Roman Dolidze met again. This time for 5 rounds in the main event on that warehouse that they call the Apex, and it was not a good fight. I was doing Fight Companion and I was so bored with this fight. I don't know if some people found this entertaining, but it was very frustrating. Especially, I was kind of embarrassing for ranked middleweights, not throwing shade. Actually, I am. But no disrespect to Dolidze and Vettori, who I feel like they are solid fighters, but this fight was not flattering to them. I feel. Um, what can you say, man? Very little adjustments. The adjustments were very broad. Not a lot of change of tactics. It was Dolitza trying different techniques and just being more aggressive than want him to fight. Vettori looked like he had some significant advantage in terms of mechanics, boxing inside the pocket, and he did not push for those advantages. Feels like Vettori's only 31 years old, I think, and he looks like he doesn't have it anymore. Not that he was super elite at any time, but I feel like Vettori has trouble pulling the trigger, having a process in a fight. He's fighting out of American Top Team. He used to be in Kings MMA. For most of his career, uh, he was doing rounds at Extreme Couture a few times, and he fought Dolidze. He sparred Dolidze before their first fight quite a few times. And now he's at American Top Team, and it seems like nothing is working for him. He hurt Dolidze in the third round, I think. He's very bad at finishing, Vettori, so yeah. I think most two or all the judges gave Dolidze every round except the round that he got hurt. Dolidze just kept being the more active fighter. He was trying different stuff, and when he found something that worked, he kept trying it again. So credits to him. That's a good win for him, but it was not a good watch, man. And I we need to talk about these kind of main events. First of all, rematches are not usually something that a lot of people look forward to. I think most MMA fans want to see new matchups. I understand that the Leeds and Vettori were available. They were kind of close in the rankings and all of that, but it was not a good fight. And you should have known that the first fight was not good, right? So why are you making this the main event? It was for sure the highest profile fight in this card, but it was not good matchmaking, man. I would rather see these guys giving someone down the rankings a shot at this stage. They are not long removed from losing, so they are not owed an opportunity to climb up the rankings or anything, right? I guess this was Vettori defending his spot against Dolidze here, but it was a trash fight, man. We cannot say it any other way. It was a bad fight. It was uninteresting. Uh, Very few momentum shifts. The only exciting part was Vettori hurting him. It was sloppy too. It was not you can have an interesting closely contested that is not a roller coaster of emotions kind of fight, but this was not it because both guys were doing the same stuff time and time again, and then it was Dolidze adding a few tools on top of it, very surface level tools too. Okay, I will start kicking now, or I'll be trying to be more aggressive and start throwing back fists after I miss with my right hand. It was that kind of stuff, right? It's not the kind of cool stuff that you want to see. That kind of blowed. I'll be honest, man. So yeah, what the fuck, UFC? The UFC is just like relying so hard on them being like the product that sell itself that they're like just putting on. This was not main event worthy, and this was like on practice too a worse fight than a lot of main events that people have complained about in the past. Like I don't know, like Amanda Rivas versus Rose Namajunas, a way better fight than this. Like what are we doing here? Really, like this was crap. Anyway, our co-main event had was more interesting. It was Shidi and Jokuani against Eliseo Zaleski dos Santos Capoeira. And Zaleski did not have the right approach here. He was trying to like move on the outside and try to counter the kicks of Njokwani to find entries to like big strikes or takedowns. But he was not like doing anything to draw the strikes that he wanted from Njokwani, so he was having a rough time trying to counter. Njokwani was being like very efficient with his striking, very like mechanically clean with his kicks, so he was hard to counter. And then on the second round, they just had like a weird exchange where Njokwani just found a knee to the shin. Zaleski, like, he had a good round when he was like very close to being like somewhat in title contention or something. He was like spoiling prospects and all of that, but he's kind of old right now and he's not like fighting the right approach. He will still like beat the shit out of a fighter that's not good, but like Njokwani is pretty decent and good for Njokwani who showed like solid takedown defense here. You know the clinch is strong for him. He missed weight though for this fight, so he needs to get that sorted out. He said that he was willing to cut the weight, but the doctor stopped him. But he gotta make sure that that doesn't happen again, man. But other than that, that was alright. Was not the best fight till that moment. Like Njokwani was like completely willing to just like outpoint Zaleski, and then he took the opportunity to get the finish in a crazy exchange, and good for him. But so yeah, Njokwani probably ranked right now. That's kind of cool. Before that, we have Alexander Hernandez against Kurt Holobaugh. I was like kind of excited this one to be like a cool fight, and it was, man. Um, First round, like both guys like being aggressive. Hernandez was looking very solid, but then Holobaugh just started like making it ugly on that second round. Like it was started like he was starting like fighting Alexander during the retreats, and you know Hernandez he takes the eye off the ball, man, and he starts like having like moments where he doesn't look like that good anymore. It's a thing of focus because like his footwork was looking solid. He was still like retreating with his chin up. He was making sure to take angles. He was managing distance well, and then Holobaugh was just like exhausting him mentally because you know Hernandez is a guy that it's kind of an overthinker out there. And Holobaugh is a big hitter too. Like he's not super big for lightweight, but you can tell that he has like clothing power with his punches, and he was starting to find like Hernandez, but then Hernandez found the takedowns, and Holobaugh like plays guard a lot, but Hernandez is a very solid grappler. So Hernandez took the win there. It was a solid win, man. Like, I don't think anyone has like super high hopes for Hernandez to get like in top 10, top 5 position anymore, but he's a solid like mid tier lightweight, and this was a solid win. I hope they keep Kurt Holobaugh because he's so much fun to watch. He's like probably at the end of his career too, so let him have his moment in the UFC. Put him in fun fights. Damon Blackshear fought Cody Gibson. Very frustrating fight as a Cody Gibson fan. He was like going to work early with the boxing, but then he was going so hard at takedowns and he was getting nowhere with them. I know that Cody Gibson, he's a wrestler. He has confidence in his wrestling, in his grappling, but Blackshear is a solid grappler, man. He showed up with very good takedown defense here too. Then he caught Cody Gibson. Blackshear got a top position at the end of the first round of a reversal of a bad takedown. I think he had a pick out, I think, or a little bit of an arm drag. I don't remember, but he had like a very like technical wrestling like reversal on a bad attempt by Gibson. He got on top position, got a cut. And Gibson was not the same on that second round. He was still like first of all, he was like very successful being aggressive on the feet, and he was like conceding the back foot to Blackshear, who Blackshire is good. Like, I'm not talking trash on him. I'm just saying that he was not doing much to push like Gibson back, and Gibson was just like kind of accepting it. And then Gibson like going for bad takedown attempts. They end up on the ground, and Blackshire finished like a beautiful Kimura from top position. So yeah, it went good for Blackshire, man. And Gibson back to the drawing board, man. He's getting up in age, so I hope he still has a few fights left in the UFC and can like put it together, because when he was looking good in this fight, he was looking like really good. Talking about Kimuras, Branson Rivero for the Iron Nurgoshai. Nurgoshai looked pretty solid in his Contender Series fight, but Rivero has not been very impressive to me in the UFC run so far. But here, Rivero looked very solid. Both guys look pretty good, to be honest. Um, Nurgoshai, big like miss, uh, big weight missed here. He showed up at like 210, I think, like awful. And he was not like looking huge, so it's maybe something to do with his diet and his weight cutting process, because he doesn't look like he's too big for 205, not at all. He's also like not super lean either. But yeah, this was like an open stance matchup. Hibero had a big knockdown, posting with his jab, and then finding the right hand to drop Nurgoshai on the first round. And then on the second round, Nurgoshai was like got a takedown, I think, and Hibero very deep with the Kimura and just muscles him, reverses and finishes. This was not the kind of Kimura that Mon Blackshear got, man. But still, man, Branson Hibero looked good, man. He looked improved. He looked like in shape. He looked strong. So yeah, I mean, good for him, man. Nurgoshai, he needs to put it together, because I feel like he has a lot of potential, man. He looked good in his, and he looked good at times here too. The opener of the main card, the debut of Kevin Vallejos in the UFC, and he looked tremendous. He fought Sun Woo Choi. Choi, I like that he was like kicking a lot in this fight instead of like because he usually boxes a lot, and Choi is like very big, has a big left hook. Vallejos was not getting close to him with the pull counter, because Choi was so long and was like throwing his jab with good form, was not giving like the read to Vallejos. But then Vallejos started like getting more aggressive, getting on his face, and the finish came as Choi threw the right hand, or was it that left hand? I don't know, but he came Vallejos slipped to his right, but he slipped a rear hand. It was not a cross counter. He slipped a rear hand to his right and came back with a big right hand over the top, and put the finish there. Like great finish for Vallejos. Tremendous debut, man. I did a short video about Vallejos fighting Contender Series. It's very filtered on YouTube. You can still watch and understand everything. If you want to watch the actual version, you can head over to Patreon and watch that. Waldo Cortez Acosta, welcome Brian Spann to the heavyweight division. Spann did not look great here, man. Spann in pretty decent shape for a heavyweight. He was like 250 plus, in decent shape. He didn't look fat. Obviously, he put on a bit of fluff moving up. You can tell that Ryan Spann, a guy that hates dieting down to 205. The thing is that Spann didn't look like as quick and as like comfortable out there with this new like body composition. And Cortez Acosta is like athletic and solid. He's very annoying because like he jabs and just downs people, but yeah, I mean here Spann was doing like stupid shit here, and Cortez Acosta was like kind of punking him. He found like a left hook during a break, a tight left hook too, and found the finish. So good for Waldo, because he was ranked and Spann was not. So Su Young Yu fought AJ Cunningham in a bantamweight fight. AJ Cunningham made his debut against Ludovic Klein up at lightweight, so he was looking huge out there, but he did not have much for Su Young Yu. Su Young Yu very solid. Just like a solid transitional fighter, like he can box well, he find takedowns in transitions, he has good top game. And good top game with ground and pound more than just like being a blanket, so he's like solid. He might not be getting the finishes all the time, but he's very solid. He reminds me of a like early UFC Alexander Volkanovski. Not that he's as good or that he's going to reach the same heights, but he has kind of a similar style, like being stocky for the division and being like very well put together. So yeah, good for Su Young Yu, man. Carlos Vera fought Josias Musasa. Musasa like a monster of an athlete coming from Contender Series. Carlos Vera had like lackluster performance against Rinya Nakamura in a fight that he was injured, and it was like a bad matchup because like Vera is a grappler, Rinya Nakamura Olympic wrestler, but here Vera looking very solid, looking like he was trying to play like kind of the Ryan Hall game of being like the outside kicker that like at any tie up tries to get it to the ground. But Carlos Vera is a way better kicker than Ryan Hall is, and Ryan Hall is not that bad as a kicker, but he doesn't have like boxing defense or anything. Carlos Vera a lot more solid as a striker. I think he's a Taekwondo black belt, and he got like a Wonder Boy ass knockdown here. He threw the overhand right, stepped to the side, from the same side with the right kick, or the shoulder, knocks down Musasa and goes immediately for the rear naked choke, cowboy Cerrone style. Awesome finish, man. One of the best of the night. Happy for Carlos Vera, especially because I know some guys that train with him. Shout out to Navigator, my boy. Your dude get it done, and it was fantastic, man. Sam Hughes fought Stephanie Luciano. Luciano, who looks like very promising, especially on the feet, but has some bad habits of leaning back, and she showed like very bad like wrestling in her last fight. He showed up very improved here. Sam Hughes came out like a house on fire early, trying to push the pace like she always does, but Luciano was like keeping her composure, and like Luciano won like the last minute or so of the first round, while Sam Hughes won early. Then you have the second round when Hughes finally gets a takedown and showed fantastic mount. Like Luciano was trying a lot of stuff, she could not get her off, and she started landing some elbows. But then the third round, both girls very tired, but Luciano more efficient with her energy. So she was still like landing shots. Sam Hughes also landing shots and pushing forwards. But yeah, I mean, it was a very close third round, and it was like kind of weird seeing Sam Hughes like tired, because she's usually like the workhorse during her fights and always winning the third round. Not the case in this one. I mean, you could argue that Sam Hughes won that round because she was landing like solid hands at the end. Like she kind of figured out Luciano. Luciano was also very tired, but she had like better optics. Hughes was like failing on takedowns, which is obviously like more energy consuming, but at the end of the day, Sam Hughes got the split decision. I'm completely fine with that. I think you can score that from 30-26 for Hughes with a 10-8 on the second, or a 29-28 with Luciano winning the first and the third. So I'm fine with the decision either way. I like Sam Hughes. There's a lot that she could improve, but I like that she tries to give herself like her winning condition all the time, and she pushes her advantages even though she's a flawed fighter. So I can respect that. Before that, we have the best performance of the night. Andre Mascoche Lima, my boy, he fought Daniel Barres. This was a showcase, man. Lima with the body work, with the jab, with the brutal leg kicks, with the patience, the footwork, solid defense too, the composure, the efficiency. I mean, I'm just glazing this dude right here, but it was so good, man. Andre Lima looked fantastic here. Barres is no joke of a striker, man. So this was like a way higher level fight than our main event. And these guys unranked, I feel both of them. Lima here, fantastic, man. And not only like being the superior striker, but then second round he got a takedown, and then third round gets a takedown again and gets a rear naked choke. So he finished the deal. Like fantastic performance by Lima. Probably going to do a video on the Fenyo TFS channel, so look forward to that during the week. But yeah, I love that performance. Priscila Cachoeira fought Josiane Nunez. Shout out to my boy Melo, because we both said this was going to be bananas, this was going to be bonkers. And it was, man. The girls were no fucking around. They were banging from the get-go. Cachoeira with the counter rights all the time, and Nunez like deep into her, was it to her left or to her right? It was to her left because she's a southpaw, yeah. And Cachoeira then, after like many like overhands, hooks, and straight rights, she counters with a she gets the read of the deep, goes with the right uppercut, spots Josiane Nunez out, and Nunez is tough, man. Like Cachoeira is a puncher, man. You get to say a lot of things about Cachoeira. Cachoeira is like not very good overall. She's also been involved in some awful cheating in some of fights, but she's a dog inside the pocket and she hits hard, man. And Josiane Nunez, like, she used to be like the girl with the big power. She found out here, man. Opener had Carly Judice against Junesi Duven, and Judice here looked very good, man. She landed a beautiful question mark kick earlier, and then she found the finish with a head kick. So that was alright. Was this like all the you were talking trash about this card, but it ended up being good? No, come on, dude. Stop that shit. This card was atrocious. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but the main event, like, nothing on the undercard made up for the main event except for, like, Kevin Vallejos and Andre Lima. That main event was trash, man. It was so bad. Do not come at me with this kind of bullshit main event. Please. We need to stop with these bullshit middleweight random ass main events. Like, try to put on good fights, man. Try to put on good fights. And hopefully, thankfully, we have good fights this Saturday. Let's get into some fight announcements here. René Derrider is fighting Bo Nickel. So, interesting, right? I'm still favoring Bo Nickel like big time. Like, Derrider is a legit grappler. But Nickel is like next level wrestler. Derrider might have some success on the striking, but Derrider is kind of janky. Bo Nickel is like not very good as striker, but he's a lot cleaner, faster, more powerful. So yeah, I mean, there are not many interesting matchups for Bo Nickel. This one is like kind of solid, to be honest. Like, it's a guy that can push him in both areas. Like, Derrider is like a harder version of the Paul Craig test. So I'm fine with that in that sense, because like Derrider is probably a better striker than Paul Craig, and yeah, if they want to still take it slow with Nickel, who was talking so much crap of already being the best middleweight in the world like 2 years ago, it's okay. What else we have? We have very few fighters. Oh, this one is like very random, man. We have Jeremy Stephens is back for some reason in the UFC. I mean, this is in Des Moines. That is like his hometown, I think. But it's still weird, right? And not only that, this fight is weird because of that, but this is also weird because he's fighting Mason Jones, who was in the UFC, had like an exciting run that didn't go great. And then he went back to like Cage Warriors and was beating the shit out of everyone. So now he's back and we have a very exciting fight, even though it's kind of random, right? So yeah, we have Mason Jones versus Jeremy Stephens. Good fight. Coris Blades is fighting Kuniev in Qatar later. I think this is in April. So I was like crying about having watched Kuniev fights and I didn't. Did I get to talk about him? I think I did. I think I did talk about Cunha, but they did end up not fighting, so it was like wasted time. But I guess I know how this fight is going to go now. Before moving on to this weekend's card, remember that to check out our merch. We have cool merch about combat sports that is not like branded or anything. So if you want to support the fight site as an ongoing project, but you want to get something in exchange, you can buy our new merch. The Body Punching Crew seems to be like a fan favorite right now. Very cool design, varsity style. We also have the Dodge Combo t-shirt that I like a lot. Straight right, body left hook, outside leg kick in the colors of the Netherlands flag. And you have a little map of the Netherlands in orange in the background. You have this user checks leg kicks, pixel art inspired t-shirt. And we have the pivots don't work in MMA for all those that are in the in-joke in MMA Twitter and other spaces. So head over to the store, links in the description. You can get a t-shirt, a poster, a mug. So if you want to get any of that, get on that, and I get a little bit of money in return. Thank you so much, guys. And now moving on, because we have a good fight night, the weird, like, super good fight night. So this Saturday in London, we have Leon Edwards against Sean Brady. This was supposed to be headlined by Leon Edwards against Jack Della Maddalena. Jack got the call to fight Belal Mohammed after an injury to Rachmanov. I almost blanked on Rachmanov's name there. And now we have Sean Brady stepping in, and Sean Brady, like, probably looking to replicate a lot of that Belal did to Leon Edwards, but presenting a lot more danger if the fight hits the ground, right? But you gotta understand too that Brady probably not as conditioned as Belal, and like maybe a better wrestler in the pure wrestling sense, but doesn't have like the transitions and the aggressiveness and the aggressive pace. Even though he tried to play that game against like Gilbert Burns, and Gilbert Burns is a tremendous wrestler. He's not only like a super decorated grappler, but he's a very good wrestler in an MMA context. So we'll see if Sean Brady can get it done. Personally, I'm a big Leon Edwards fan, and I hope that he still has some good fights left, because that was a lackluster performance against Belal Mohammed. It was still a very close fight, so hopefully Leon Edwards patches some of those flaws that he showed, especially in urgency, in putting himself against the cage. Hopefully we see more of Leon Edwards like clinching in open space, controlling the initiative like he did in the Usman 2 fight when he defended his title. Now, yeah, this is a very good main event, man. Our co-main event is also very interesting. We have Jan Blachowicz fighting Carlos Ulberg. So Ulberg had that embarrassing debut against Kennedy Nzechukwu, because Nzechukwu at the time was bad. He's a lot better now, but he was not very good at the time. And Ulberg was styling on him, and then he got tired and he got finished. But since then, Ulberg has looked very solid, man. The big thing that Ulberg has is that he's not only a solid striker, but he's like very clean mechanically. And that's such a shit code up at 205. Like, Blachowicz himself is like he's pretty janky mechanically. And he's like one of the cleaner guys in the division, so it will be interesting. Ulberg showed his like superior striking and mechanics against Volkan Oezdemir, who has been looking very solid lately, so I respect that win. And Ulberg has shown like good takedown defense. The cardio has clearly improved since his debut, and he's dangerous, man. And he's like slick. He's not like fantastic, the best striker in the world, but he's very solid. He packs big power. He's big for the division too. So this a very solid test against Jan. We'll see what the Jan approach will be. Will he try to like mix in some takedowns here? Or he will like try to kick on the outside with Ulberg. Will try his blitzing style. That could be dangerous because Ulberg has a fantastic counter left hook against incoming opposition. But yeah, I mean, this is a very intriguing fight, and if Ulberg wins against Blachowicz that looks decent, that like could mean like big things for Ulberg in the future. Kevin Holland back at 170. He's fighting Gunnar Nelson. Very cool fight. Gunnar Nelson mostly gets like takedowns after like going for a knee tap and then transitioning to a clinch situation where he works like the Polish throw or trips. Kevin Holland is kind of hard to take down in that way. But also Kevin Holland, we've seen Kevin Holland struggle with the karate stylist, obviously in Wonderboy and MVP. But Gunnar Nelson obviously not as dynamic and dangerous of a karate striker of those two. But Nelson obviously provides the danger of taking the fight to the ground because he's an elite grappler. There's also like it's going to be like a decent like height and reach disparity in this fight, so it will be interesting to see how Nelson navigates that. But I think his in and out bouncy style is like well equipped to deal with a longer guy like Holland. He gotta be careful with counters coming in because Holland can punch, man. Molly McCann is fighting Alexia Tainara. I think this is a. Oh yeah, she was supposed to fight Estela Nunes, which was like a higher profile fight. So Tainara filling in short notice. I think like just like few days ago. Same in Molly. She looked kind of rough in that Bruna Brazil fight, but she looked very good in her strawweight, like her comeback to strawweight. So looking forward to this one. And Molly McCann, when she has a crowd, she puts on a show, man. Jordan Busenich is back after his debut against Guram Kutateladze, who is also seeing action in this card. He's fighting Chris Duncan, so a fight of Busenich, who is like well put together and very athletic, against Duncan, who is also like well put together, but not as dynamic. But he's like a workhorse, a guy that push forward hard. We saw Busenich getting tired, especially because Busenich is a former featherweight, so he's not that big for the division. I mean, to be like a decent sized lightweight, he needs to be carrying some mass around. So we'll see if he can keep up with the pace of Duncan if this goes into the third round. And Duncan a very solid grappler too, so this fight is fantastic. We have Nathaniel Wood against Morgan Charrier. This is going to be crazy, man. Love both guys. I guess I'm rooting for my guy Nate Wood here, but Charrier is also very cool, man. If you want to see a cool fight from last year, like go and watch Charrier against Chepe Mariscal. Tremendous. And Nate Wood, he has been fantastic since moving to featherweight. So great fight, man. Excited for that one. Jai Herbert is back and he's fighting Chris Taco Padilla. For those that don't remember, Padilla looked very good in that fight against Rong Shu, who looked fantastic himself in his last fight. He got a nasty elbow, got a big cut and got the win with that cut. And before that, he got a rear naked choke in his UFC debut against James John Top with a rear naked choke. So he managed to finish John Top, something that Hoofy couldn't do and Slavaklaus couldn't do. So good for Chris Padilla, man. This might be a bad matchup for Herbert. We'll see. Leonard Kavanagh, our favorite Chinese English fighter, is back and he's fighting Lipe de Tona, Felipe dos Santos. This is a banger of a fight, man. So excited about this one. Felipe dos Santos is so cool. He's coming off a loss to Andre Lima, Mascochi, my boy, who I just glazed a moment ago. So this one, I'm looking forward to this one big time, man. Marcin Tybura is testing yet another rising heavyweight, and this time it's Mick Parkin. Marcin has been stopping a lot of these guys on their tracks. I feel like Parkin can probably clear this. Like Parkin lacks in volume, but he's like cleaner mechanically than Tybura, and he's like well rounded, unlike a lot of the heavyweights that Tybura like just like takes down and gets tired. I feel like Parkin can clear the Tybura test, but we gotta see, right? Andrei Pulyaev is fighting Christian Leroy Duncan. Pulyaev is coming from Contender Series. I do not remember his fight. And Christian Leroy Duncan hasn't seen action since losing to Hovokop Gregory Rodriguez. But Leroy Duncan puts on a show all the time, man. Shauna Bannon is fighting Puya Tomar. That's whatever. Colin Loughran is back. He's fighting Nathan Fletcher. Somewhat of a mirror match kind of thing there. And listed as the opener for whatever reason is Guram Kutateladze against Kawa Fernandez. Always excited to see Guram. He might not be like the top 5 material that a lot of people thought when he debuted against Gamrot in that banger of a fight. But he's always like super fun to watch, man. He's so cool. He does a lot of interesting stuff. And Carlos Fernandez is like a powerful kicker, so maybe they will go like kick for kick in this one. Maybe Guram shows some of his wrestling too here, or the clinching. We'll see. And that's it for the podcast, man. Yeah, thank you guys for joining me this week. Expect more content, especially subscribe to the Feño TFS YouTube channel. I'm dedicating myself there and posting a lot of shorts. And we'll be posting a longer video about Felipe Lima this week. I'll be posting matchmaking for this card, Vettori versus Dolidze, in this same channel. So look forward to that too. And I owe all my Patreon boys a podcast about fighting styles. It's just that my ADHD ass got busy with other stuff. But I haven't forgot. I have the outline complete. So I'm going to record that tomorrow or Wednesday. Remember that if you want to support me and the Fight Site as an ongoing project, you can head over to Patreon. You get access to a lot of exclusive content. I've been posting like videos without filter over there that I cannot post on YouTube, and also like the alternate commentaries that are very popular, so you get to watch a fight but with my commentary instead of the official one, maybe get like a different insight on those fights. And there's a lot of those, and not only from me, like from other like members of the Fight Site too, including Two Men. Free your boy Two Men, please. United States, fuck you. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me. I'll be seeing you guys during the week. And remember, Fight Companion is coming to you on Saturday. I'm Feño signing out.